evening, everybody. Welcome along to XBGL Season 1. This is round number 2, and we are here at the home of British Motorsport in Silverstone for the British Grand Prix. It's been held since 1950, the first ever race in the Formula 1 calendar, built on the site of a former World War II airbase. My name is Jess, and I'll be your commentator for tonight's race. Last week, we saw the opening round of XBGL, and I have to say, we got some early favours after what we saw last week. We had safety cars, we had some superb battles and different strategies that decided the outcome of the race last week. It got me on edge, I've got to say. But anyway, hopefully we'll have some great things on store this week. So let's have a look at the results from last week then. Our first ever XBGL winner ever is LVA Brown, who actually produced a really good showing last week in the Mercedes, showing why he is on top form. We also got pole last week as well. He almost got the hat trick. He didn't quite get the fastest lap, but there you go. Someone else got the fastest lap outside the top 10, and that was Dominic. But you don't get points if you get the fastest lap outside the top 10. We had also Smasher having a very good showing last week as well, who got an impressive second place. And I was speaking to him last week, and he was expecting to keep up his consistency. As long as he gets on the podium or even a win, it'll be better for him. CRG Lutt in third place, getting the final podium spot. And OT's actually having a really good recovery drive to finish in fourth place on the alternate strategy. Lefted finished fifth last week. Felipe finished sixth. Crescito finished 7, making it a Williams 6-7. Days Rhombus 915 in 8th position. AMS Placky in 9th. And Hawk rounding up your final points finisher in 10th position. So what does that do with the standings? Well, it doesn't really change much because Brown is in the lead. He gets 16 points for the win, with 12 points for second place, and that's what Smash is on. 10 points for third, which is Lut. And we got 4th or 8th point, 5th place 6 points, 6th place 5 points, etc. all the way down to 1 point with Hawk in 10th. And now what does that do with the constructors? Because that's going to be making it a little bit more interesting this evening. The constructors Mercedes got 26 points in the fight last week because Brown got 16 points. Lutt got 10. Red Bull also had a good showing as well, having 2 cars in the top 4 as well as Mercedes with 20 points. Williams on third with 9 points. Alfa Romeo 4th on 7. Renault in 5th on 3. AlphaTauri 6th on 2 with McLaren, Haas, Ferrari and Racing Point yet to score. So before we go to the main action here tonight, we're just going to have a look quickly at the track that the drivers will be facing today. So the track is 5.8 kilometers long with 18 turns, 8 to the left and 10 to the right. There are 2 DRS zones for overtaking, one after turn 5 of the Wellington Straight heading into Brooklands, and one of the Hangar Straight heading into Stowe. Due to safety reasons though, the DRS zone that was added in turn 1 in 2018 has been removed. Quite a few corners to watch out for tonight, but I will go through that just in a little bit more detail later on. I've added a new feature here this evening, and every week we are going to try and get a hot lap in from one driver on the XBGL grid. And one person kindly volunteered to do the first one for this season, and it's third place man in the championship, CRG Lutt, and I hope you enjoyed his hot lap before we get into qualifying. Welcome to the home of British Motorsport in Silverstone for the British Grand Prix. We're riding on board with CRG Lutt as he takes you on a hot lap. You're about to approach turn 1, you can take it flat out, try to take a fair amount of the inside curve as possible. For turn 2, make sure your car is all the way to the left of the track on exit. On the exit of 3, make sure you attempt to get the car as far to the right as possible to open up turn 4. Straighten the car as soon as you can on exit. Once you've done so, you can floor on the throttle. And you're now going to the Wellington Straight, the first DRS zone on the track. And then you're just past Brooklands. You can go on the power a little bit when you enter Luffield. And then once you get to Woodcote, dab on the brakes and then floor on the throttle again. You're going to be going from 6th gear all the way down to 8th gear here. Moving to the left a bit as you head towards turn 9, which is Cops, which can't be taken flat out in some cars, but you may have to lift a little as you see fit. You'll be heading towards the famous Maggots, Beckett and Chapel section. Turn 10 can be taken fully flat. At Beckett, you may find yourself having to lift the throttle, and for Chapel, possibly doing the same. You're now approaching the Hangar Straight, which follows Maggots and Beckett, and you'll reach turn 15 for Stowe. Brake as the curb on the left of the track begins, and turn in almost immediately afterwards and aim to hook your front right wheel on the inside curb, as you can see. Turn 16 is the final heavy braking end of the track, Vale and into Club, and heading towards the final corner now, and now's the lap around Silverstone. So there we go then, thanks to CRG LUT for providing the footage of the hot lap this evening, and hopefully we can get some more drivers doing hot laps throughout the season. So without further ado, let's get straight on to the qualifying action here in Silverstone, of course. Now we got a full grid light last week as well, as I've just caught someone spinning it just before the hangar straight. So that was, I think, not a good start from Got to Go's fastest lap anyway. Quite a few people have already got their lap times in. CRG LUT is setting the benchmark time at the moment with a 1:23.9, and that is not where you want to invalidate your lap time. I did talk about that in the hot lap. If you just hit even 4 wheels onto that curb, that is where you get an invalidation. Today's Rombas, unfortunately, does not get a lap in as well. I'm just trying to see who else is on a lap as well. Well, actually, let's go on board with OT's on a lap. Don't forget, slipstream from your teammate is not allowed in this league. He finished 4th place last week, and to be honest, he was quite happy with this result. And he's probably a person that wants to aim higher this week and possibly get a better qualifying. Or maybe he would want to aim for the alternate strategy anyway. But with times being so close last week, then anything can happen in Formula 1. We are expecting the drivers tonight to be a little bit more cleaner, but the drivers told me that it was Australia. Australia usually likes to provide incidents. So hopefully Britain will provide less incidents for us. And these drivers are putting a lot of practice for this, so we wish them the best of luck, of course. So here it goes, Otis through Chapel now and into the DRS straight. Managing it quite well as well. Set to 2 time was a 101 point something, and I just lost the time anyway. He's running out of fuel as well, so he's probably going to be on low fuel mode heading towards, I think, when he goes into the pit lane later. So he comes across the line now, heading past Club now. And what lap time is he going to say? He's not going to beat LUT, but it puts him in 7th place, just behind his teammate Smasher in 6th position. So your qualifying results so far: LUT on par with a 1:23.9. 2nd place is Tebow with a 1:24.0. 3rd place is Nico with a 1:24.059. So the top 4 pretty close, and Dominic there as well, who needed a good result after last week's disappointment, is definitely showing redemptions this week. And Peroni is also showing redemptions in P5 as well. Smasher in 6th, OT 7th, left it in 8th. Felipe that's just coming on his out lap now in 9th. And last week's pole sitter only in 10th, but for a few of the other guys, it's their benchmarker lap times. So really, we are not going to expect too much of them until the calm before the storm hits them in around about 10 minutes' time. Now, last week we were into the unknowns of who we would expect to do well, who we not. But this week, I think we have a little bit more of an idea, but it's only the first 2 rounds. We may probably get to around about round 4 and see, right, who needs a little bit more work and who is shining successfully. Now, a few mentions today. We've got Zizala in P12. It's making his debut into the league tonight, which is great to see after missing last week. He is in the Haas car. And we got Joker, who is filling in for one of the Renault drivers here tonight. So I need to check which Renault driver it is. I'll need to check on Discord, actually. So just give me a moment on who he is replacing tonight. He's replacing Glenzo tonight. So he's making his 2nd race in XBGL. And if he keeps up his attendance, maybe he could become a full-time driver should one person drop out. If one person drops out, I'm sorry. Everyone else is on their out laps at the moment. And looking at strategy, you did see the strategy briefly in the slideshow that I did earlier on at the start of the stream. It's going to be soft to mediums. It's going to be the fastest strategy around here. You won't be wanting to touch the hards. I know it said on the strategy that they can go soft to hards, but soft to mediums is better. The softs could last a fortune around here. It's the lowest lot of tyre compounds that Pirelli are bringing in this weekend, which is the C3s, the C2s, and the C1s. And the softs can actually last about 14 laps. So pretty much halfway into this Grand Prix. So a lot of people potentially could be doing the undercut. And Sparks now, let's see what he does on his lap as he goes towards the final corner. A bit of a yellow flag in the final sector, so that might have hindered people's laps, but Sparks gets just behind Smasher with a 124.173. Now let's see how Lut is doing. The guy that I had a hot lap from this week, he's just coming through sector 1 now. He did see his teammate win the race last week, and I wonder if he can give this more motivation for him to win this week. His teammate, though, only in 13th place, so it looks like those two are kind of swap positions from last week. But you never know what this race could throw at you. We did have a dry qualifying in F11 earlier on tonight, and Lefted has retired from the session, and that is through just after Stowe. So he's not going to set in another benchmark time. His fastest time will be a 124.357. Smash is going through sector 1 now. There's quite a few people heading towards the final corner, so I'll keep an eye on those as Clone goes fastest with a 123.8. And we got Peroni on a lap. We've got Lot on a lap. There's loads of people on laps right now, so we're going to follow them. We're going to follow Peroni first. He wants to redeem himself after last week's disappointment, but from other leagues on the Xbox platform, he's been doing really well, so expecting big things from him. And he comes across the line in 4th, and Lutz smashes the timing sheet so far with a 123.714. Looks quite comfortable across the whole lap as well, so it could be very, very intriguing. And Brown comes in 3rd place. So at the moment, we've got a Mercedes 1-3, so I had a feeling he was hiding his true pace, and he was getting into the groove now in 3rd. So we're seeing the original protagonists in the top 4, with Clone actually having a massive retirement last week. It didn't look very good on the stream, his retirement. It was a nasty shunt, and it was very, very unlucky for him. But he knows that he's going to fight back this week and strive for a bit bigger things. Because before that accident, he was looking pretty good last week with his consistency. So, you know, I wonder if we can see this week what he's truly about as well. So Brown now is on his in-lap. So who is on a flyer that we can go on board with? OT's as well, just going past Cops Corner. Now, I'm noticing with these drivers here tonight, they're not lifting as much as on the last game. And that's because in multiplayer you can get away with just a little dab on the brakes maybe, or even just not lifting at all. And Otis goes purple sector 2. It might not mean anything. We'll have to wait and see as he goes through Stowe now. Let's see how he approaches Stowe. He goes to the left a little bit. Nicely done from him. Any more wheels underneath that curb, and that would have definitely been an invalidation. Final corner he goes. Can he beat CRG Lutz's time, or even Clone's time of a 123.8? No, he can't, but he does get into the 123.9s at the moment. Now, we are expecting faster lap times from these drivers. Pole time is expected to be a 123.5 to a 123.7. So, Lut is already at the lower end of that range. Will we get to the higher end of that range tonight? I think we're going to watch out for the top 6 especially, see if they can reach that. But look at the gap between Peroni and Thibaut, sorry. 2 thousandths of a second separating between those two as well. And Wombats is the only driver not to set the time within a second. 7 tenths separate the top 19, so just when you thought it wasn't going to get close, it is going to get close. So Cesarla now on his out lap. Now, Cesarla, again, like I said, wasn't here last week, so we haven't heard much about him. So I'm actually going to find if he's asked any questions that I sent to him last week. But the Discord has been quite busy since then, so it's really hard to scroll with this as well. So I will try my best to see if I can find his questions. So there we go. I found his questions. That was a good timing. So he's done many leagues in the past. He's been in Tier 2 for quite a few and Tier 1 for quite a few as well. And his biggest achievement was on this game where he finished in one of the Tier 1 leagues in first place around the new track around Zandvoort. Unfortunately though, Zandvoort is not on the calendar. And Cesalo's hoping to finish top 10 in the standings and get some points on the board. So if he gets some points on the board, then he's probably going to be a very happy bunny. Just to tell you the truth. So anyone else on a lap then as well? Smasher potentially as well, going past Woodcote and into Cops now. Loving his helmet. I'm actually going to look at the helmet designs as well as... that was not a good entry into Cop's corner. I think he got a bit on the power a little bit too early there. So that means he will probably have to go on another lap again. Or he might be committing. It was only one attempt down. Imagine we would have been if he didn't slide into Cops. So I think he's going to just lose out, I think, from his previous best. And he invalidates as well. I think he could just about get in time, but don't forget the pit entry and going into the pit lane is quite long. So it's going to be close call, I think, for Smasher to get in time as well. And we did see Clone backing off a bit as well. So he's going to go into the pits. We've got Brown going out of the pit lane and Dominic on his outlap. In the racing point, it is the calm before the storm now. And the question I would like to ask is, and particularly to you guys in the chat, would Brown make it 2 for 2 today in terms of poles and or victories? To be honest, I think Brown could be the one, just like Lewis Hamilton, that saves his pace to the last minute. Not sure his true pace until the end, because then people will probably be under more pressure. But he is in 5th place. He's got to find only probably about a 10th or so, 2 tenths to get onto pole. Maybe get into the 1:23.6s. That could be the comfortable benchmark, I think, for him as well. But the person that can't challenge for pole position is Tebow, down in 2nd position. He's only 4 100s down off a pole right now. And quite a few people can't get their laps in as well. Felipe, Clone as well. Unless Clone's got enough fuel. Looks like Clone is going out again. So that might strongly suggest what may happen in the race. The last race I've actually commentated around here, it was raining in PSGL F2. So I'm a bit worried that the curse may bring back to XBGL. So I do apologise if that happens. But Silverstone is known for wet weather. Whether it's in qualifying or maybe in the race. So Clone comes across the line now. That could potentially be his final lap. And it's a 1:23.999. So I don't think that is an improvement, but I'll double check. Nope, that wasn't an improvement because his best lap was a 1:23.881. So who will be the last person to cross the line? It will potentially be one of the Mercedes. So I think it would be Brown. No, not Brown. Lutz, sorry. So that will have the better flexibility. But don't forget, we got a train of cars in Sector 3. Let's go on board with them, actually. Just look at those train of cars. I'm a bit worried that not all of them are actually going to make it across the line in time. We've got a Racing Point, a Ferrari, an Alfa Romeo, a Haas, a Williams, a Red Bull. Oh, my God. They got to be careful. This is going to be like Monza 2019 all over again. And I doubt... Oh, a Smasher has had a bit of a spin there, and that's probably hindered the McLaren's lap of, who's that, Sam. And Sam's not going to make it. Neither is Smasher, so... That just goes to show never leave it too late. It's never leave it too late. So, we've got a few people coming towards the final corner now. Brown can only manage 3rd, being improved by 1/10. And we've got, I think, Otis on a lap as well. Heading towards the final corner. No invalidations from him, but he was a few 100s down and he just binned it. So the Red Bulls not having a good time on their final lap. So let's go on board with our pole sitter luck. Can he get to the 123.5s? Yes, he does. With a pole position here. His teammate got it last week. It looks like he's going to get it this week. But what about more drivers? We're going to see who else is going to cross the line. We've got Perondi going through sector 2. But we got his teammate. He was the one that didn't get a lap in either. So I'm just trying to see who could be still on a lap. So here comes Nico in the Ferrari. And that is third. So that at the moment is for Ferrari 2-3. Hall comes across the line in 4th. Let's see what Peroni can do then. Perondi. Can he get pole position? He's only got to find a few attempts. Only managing 8th position. And Dave Rombus can only manage last place. But look at the gap between 1st and 18th. Only 6 seconds. 6/10 of a second between 1st and 18th. And Joker, 8/10 between 1st and 19th. But Lutt, I've got to say, very, very impressive lap time from him. He looked very comfortable out there. And Lutt is looking very, very comfortable to taking the win here today. Could he be on the shot? Could he time his strategy right? And 23.5 is what we would expect potentially with the top tier drivers at PSGL. So I think that's what we could be expecting next Monday as well. But everyone else not getting into the 123.5s, whereas Lutt did so. Very, very impressed. And let's go through the results now. So Lutt on pole from Tebow in 2nd, Nico in 3rd, Hawk in 4th, Brown in 5th, Felipe in 6th, Clone in 7th, Perondi in 8th, Sparks in 9th, Smasher can only manage 10th this week. What could it have been for the 2 Red Bull boys if they didn't bin it on their final laps? OT's in 11th, Dominic in 12th, Sam in 13th, Placky 14th, Crescito 15th, Cesala can only manage 16th this week. Got to go fast in 17th, left it in 18th, Joker in 19th, with Dave Rombus could only manage 20th. Now, I'm almost certain that the end of qualifying is going to be investigated with the stewards. I'm almost certain because a few people would have got a lap in, especially Sam as well. McCabe Sam in the McLaren. He could have got a lap in if he didn't get held up by BGG Smasher, I don't think. So, and you can't see it at the moment, but you're going to be in for a real treat in the race today. And I'm not going to give you too many clues as what it's going to be. But actually, I'll give you a clue now. The strategy that some people are going to go on today is going to be thrown completely out the window. And the drivers are going to be very frustrated. It's not the worst of situations around here, but it's definitely not the best. They would have preferred it to be difficult conditions, I've got to say. And we'll just wait until the countdown happens with the formation lap before we get to the race. And I know a lot of you who live in Britain in particular are not going to be surprised about what's in store with our drivers here today. So, and let me just get the telemetries up for a second. There we go. And you are going to get a surprise in store in 3, 2, 1. It's raining. Only intermediate conditions, mind. So I wonder if it's going to stay like this for the whole race or if it's going to get any worse or whatsoever. So, you know, it would be a soft to medium strategy in the dry conditions, but in the wet, completely different story. The inters should last about the same amount of time as the medium compounder tyres. So looking at my data, around about lap 16 or 15 to pit for another fresh set of the inters. If it stays like this for the whole race, bear in mind. But I wonder if it is going to get worse. I really don't hope it gets worse because, to be honest, there's not much racing if it's full wets, I've got to say. Looking at the strategy, it is going to be a one-stop, I think, for most of these drivers. But will some people try the two-stop? And I've got to say, the visibility will not be the best, so watch out for turn 1 and 2 in particular, maybe even turn 3 as well. So no alternate strategies in play for the drivers here tonight. So they've got to go with their gut feeling and skill as well. And I wonder if we would have got a faster lap time in qualifying, because quite a lot of these drivers may have gone for the wet setup, and that might have explained why a few people went off in the final corner in qualifying, because it wasn't as suited to the dry as it was to the wet. And a few people already in the chat are getting in some safety car predictions. I think in this weather, I'm probably going to predict 2 safety cars. I think 2 or 3. There's definitely going to be one. I can tell you that right now. But let's know your thoughts in the chat. Safety car predictions. Who you think's going to win? Biggest surprise maybe as well. It's nice to see the Ferraris up there in P2 and P3. Very, very impressive. Hawk, who finished 10th last week, in 4th position. So quite a lot of improvements. So, but Lutt and Brown in the top 5. That could be interesting as well. And this is where they can use teamwork to their advantage. So anyway, we are about to start here in Silverstone, and the camera is not cutting at the right time at the moment. We're getting a long hold at the moment. Hopefully this may not trigger a lobby restart. There we go. We got 4 lights, 5 lights. And we are underway for XBGL round 2. And it's an even start from both the Ferrari and Lutt. But the Ferrari got an even better start. They make it past turn 1 and 2. And already, I think we're seeing a little bit of a pile-up, I think, towards the back. So let's see how they make it through the tricky turn 3 and into turn 4. Okay. Oh, nope. We did see someone spin. It is a Red Bull. It might be... Nope, it's not Otis. I thought it was Otis, but it was Smasher who had a bit of a spin. And Nico's dropped all the way down into last with Got to Go Fast as well. So there might have been an accident there somewhere, as the timings are a bit glitchy on my screen at the moment. So it was hard now. Otis has gone all the way into P4. Hawker's drop was gained up into 3rd. Brown stays in 5th. Cologne has dropped down to 6th. Sparks in 7th and Dominic in 8th. And we're going to see then if Lutt can clear a race. So no safety car in lap 1. And I think a lot of the guys in the chat are going to be absolutely relieved. I think even me as well. It seems like a lot of people are taking it a little bit more cautious in the rain, I gotta say, but you never know. Looks like Brown is the closest of making an overtake on Otis, but can't quite do it. But he may get a better run here right now. And you could see a little bit of blue in the sky as well, so it may suggest that the conditions could get a lot better as the race goes on. And CRG Lutt is leading the field away at the moment. And it is a timing glitch as Brown is not in the lead. And I think everyone has not pitted in lap 1, which is another surprise, I've got to say. So well done to everyone that has performed so well so far. So it gives me a good opportunity to look at position changes right now. So Cesar has actually gained the most. Actually, no. Actually, no, we can't read too much into it until it fixes itself. So come on, fix itself, please. Right now. And I think it's just fixed itself, but at the moment you can only see the outside. There we go. We eventually could see that. So, Otis has gained the most inside the top 10 with 7 positions. Dominic's also had a good start, 4 positions, as well as Cesaro, who's gained 4 as well. Dave Wombers had a good start as well, gained 2. Left has gained 2. Crescito has gained 2. Sparks has also had a good start, gained 2. Clone has gained 1. Hawk has gained 1. Joker's gained 1. But the biggest loser, Nico, was one of the ones involved in the incident earlier on. I couldn't quite catch it from my POV, unfortunately, but He's dropped all the way down into 19th, and I think it was just a spin because it looks like from his car that there's no damage. So, however, it doesn't do his tyres any good. I can tell you that right now. And got to go fast is not having a good side either. Dropped down 3 positions. Tebow is catching though. There's no DRS, don't forget, in the wet weather. So that means they got to rely on each other's slipstream. And Tebow's going to try and get into Lutz's slipstream, which he is at the moment. And I've got to say, Tebow's looking good in the wet. I've watched a wet to dry race, or it was a dry to wet race around Canada, where it was wet affected for Tebow once. And he performed really well. So he is, I think, one of the kings of the wet conditions. So it's not really a surprise to see him doing well at the moment as he heads past Luffield into Woodcote. Now this is a very understeery corner. If you get it wrong, you're probably going to be ending up into the gravel trap. We're going to watch for the battle between Smasher, Cesala and Felipe in a second as well. I think that could be the closer battle. So let's keep an eye on that. In the midfield, battle for the last point. And he just can't get past at the moment. I think the only other overtake potentially would be heading into Stowe Corner. And obviously, hanging straight in from Vale into Club as well. Something we need to watch out for. And obviously the Wellington Straight. That is the main corners, I think. The other corners are going to be hard in these wet conditions. Let's watch Cesala then and see if he can get what he deserved. He had a good start, but can he gain another position on Smasher? He's a little bit too further back to do it. As well. And this big train is probably going to stop people from overtaking, which is going to make it harder. Tebow is gaining once again. He's still within that 6/10th range, so I think it looks like Lutz is matching his pace. Otherwise, they wouldn't have stayed sable gap. But saying that, Tebow has gained a few tenths in that first few corners alone, so scratch that with what I said. Lutt went a little bit wide there. There might have been a bit of a warning from him, but Tebow, chance to gain, and we got a yellow flag. That's Hawk down in 7th. And where did he lose it? That was past turn 4 into the Wellington Straight. So the dream start that he wanted, and he's already down in last place. That is a shame for him. And that promote's got to go fast. And Nico up a position as well. Tebow looking very racy past Cops now. And you're just going to watch. I think Tebow could wait for Lutt to make a mistake here. And some Benjamin has asked in the chat, is there rain for the whole race? I'm as clueless as you guys are in the chat. I don't tend to ask the drivers about the weather anymore because I want it to be a surprise for the viewers as well as me. So, and you get to hear my genuine reaction live on stream, which is good to hear. So, not much battles happening at the moment, but we can start to see the rears maybe start to struggle, but a few more people I think on the grid will get a little bit more pace because some of them perform better on much worn tyres compared to new ones. Because in the formation lap, that is something I forgot to talk about. In the formation lap, I found it around Silverstone more than anything. If you don't warm up your tyres efficiently in the formation lap, you're going to suffer in lap 1. And you're going to suffer for some of this race as well, because you're probably going to end up catching up to the rest of the guys. So, looks like most of the drivers have warmed up their tyres effectively. And that is something to keep in mind with the other tiers as well, if they do suffer these type of conditions, whether it's inter conditions or for wet conditions. And for those of you that have noticed, I didn't make predictions because usually that's a little bit of a blessing in disguise. Now, Hawk has gone into the pits and he is changing on to another set of enters. So he comes out of the pits. No harm lost though. I don't think he's going to be a lap down. Actually, he might be a lap down. Actually, I'm not entirely sure. But due to the pit loss, he could potentially will be because he lost a little bit of time. But anyway, McCabe Sam doing well. Found a bit of time on that last sector on Crescito in the Williams, but lost a bit of time heading just after Chapel and the Hanger Straight. So it could be turn 3 where he starts the game, potentially. Watch out for the guys in the midfield as well, because if they see the other drivers start to struggle, this is where they can gain massive advantage, and a lot of these guys are pushing the guys in front to use a lot more of their airs as well. So Sam is on 40% usage of their ERS. Crescito 62, so as Crescito's gone off, that's allowed Sam to gain quite a bit of time there. So Crescito might have just lost it on exit into turn 2. And that's allowed Sam to just really gain and show what he's made of. But looks like Crescito has found his pace once again. And Sam can't get past. But Lutt is already pulling away, but not quite some margin though. It's about almost a tenth between him and Tebow. Tebow's pulling away from Otis though in third. Otis and Brown holding position though, which is great to see. Within 2 seconds of each other, either side. Clone though has got a really good chance on getting Brown on this lap. The McLaren boys doing well. And in real life, this could be the final race in Mercedes powered cars. But obviously on this game, Mercedes powered cars, Renault powered cars. But obviously on the game, they'll be in the Renault powered cars for a little bit longer. But it may be just me, but it stopped raining. I was not expecting the rain to drop this fast, but the main reason why I thought it wasn't going to be wet for the whole race was because of the sun trying to peep up a little bit. So I wonder, what tyres will they go on? When will they do it? When will be the best option for these guys to go onto the slicks? This could be a 2-stop race, and this could make things even more exciting for the drivers. And this is where they can gain as much pace as possible. And yes, it is definitely dry, so the lap times, the fastest lap times will start to increase a bit more as well as the track dries up. And I think the one that's getting the most out of this situation maybe could be Smasher. Around 5/10 potentially. So bring it on, grab your popcorn. I think we're going to see more battles emerging in the dry phase of the race. I would say if they pit now, which they can't because the track is nowhere near dry enough for the slicks, hards. The hards will be the only tyres that will make it to the end of the race. Because they can't do the 2-stop. They just can't. As in the 2-stop on dry. Because the pit stop loss around this circuit is around about 30 seconds. 29 to 30 seconds. And if you get a bad pit stop, you're going to lose almost a minute or so of time. Or even more than that. So you've got to make sure you nail it and decide when is the best time to get into the pits. Because otherwise it could cost you very, very dearly around this track. And it's not drying up as quickly as I thought. It's still spray on the circuit. I have a feeling some people will take the plunge. And I'm going to predict someone that is going to go for the plunge here this evening. And if I were them, people outside of the top 10 maybe got the ones to gain out of the situation. Cesala. I think Cesala is going to be the one that goes for the gamble. Obviously not now, but when the track nearly gets dry enough, Cesala probably going to be the one to blink first and be like, you know what, screw this, I'm going to pit. But sometimes, even me, a few races I've done around Silverstone, there was a few times where I was wet to dry and I had to pit because I had damage. So, and going on the drive was just even difficult in these crossover periods. So I wonder how this is going to happen. So lap 8 now. Tebow's gained a bit of time, and it's Brown that's probably blinked first. Crescito has got a I think it's a 3-second penalty, I think. Let me just check the penalties. Yep, 3 seconds. So Brown comes in then, and does he go on the hard tyres? Medium, so he's going for the 2-stop by the looks of things. Very, very interesting. Now, the track temperatures is going to be a lot lower than expected, so maybe the mediums could go on a bit longer. And maybe that could be the best time. Now, actually looking back at the strategy, 8 to 11 laps, go on the mediums. So yes, medium tyres could get them to the end. So I think, let's just watch Brown actually on his out lap. He is struggling just a little bit through turn 3 and 4. I doubt this was the right decision, but at least he tried for the gamble, and you do have to take gambles in league racing sooner or later. And if it doesn't pay off for you, then that's pretty much it. But yeah, I think a lot of people agree with me in the chat that it is far too early for Brown to go in. So he's probably lost a lot of time, and got to go fast is gaining on Brown, so that is a shame. Yet Brown is losing about a second. Maybe in a few laps potentially as well, as Hawk has spun it again. Did I just call him reset to track? I'm not entirely sure. So his day, unfortunately, Hawk has gone from bad to worse for the Alfa Romeo driver, and we've got a few more people going into the pits. Sam, Placky, Dade Rhombus, and Sparks. Is it the right call? It's dry in the pit lane, but is it dry on track? So Sparks goes on the mediums, so does Sam as well. Placky goes on to the mediums too. For Brown, it might have been a lap too early, but still quite slippy in places. So again, in some places I feel it's too early, but in some sectors I think it may be just right. And DRS enabled. So if Brown pitted just a lap later, it would have been enough. But Brown just took it too early, and that's losted him so much time. So he's only about 5.4 seconds. At least he's got much warmer tyres compared to his rivals, so he can get past them potentially. But so that will allow Lutz, Tebow, Otis, Clone, Dominic in 5th position, Perondi, Felipe, Smasher, Cesala, Crescito, Lefted, Joker, and Nico to go into the pits, and Hawk also goes into the pits. So will anyone opt for the pits? So Tebow has fell victim of the 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. I think that is another thing to watch out, because the pit entry is so short around this circuit. You've got to slow down very, at the right time. So Otis comes in, Tebow comes out, as well as Lutz as well. And a few of the drivers are ahead of Lutz in the pit lane, but I think they're a lap down, so that's why Lutz is probably still going to be in the lead of this. A few people might jump in the pit lane. Now, the Williams crew may have the benefit because they are the last ones in the garage and they can't get hold up. And that was close for Otis, I've got to say. But he keeps the car intact, but he's probably lost a bit of time to Tebow up front as well. But meanwhile, Dominic has gained a lot of time on Clone heading into turn 4. He can't get the move done there, but he's going to get the switchback, heading towards the Wellington straight. Going side by side, they go. DRS is enabled then, so this could be Dominic's chance to really make some moves in this race. Clone trying to leave as much space as possible, but nice offensive from Clone. This could be a three-way battle because Sparks is in there as well. Sparks could wait for these two to possibly make a mistake, so if I was a Haas driver, I would just wait for the exact moment just to do it. I would just wait. I'm going to watch for the battle between Tebow as well and Lut as well coming up soon. But these three are definitely getting very feisty. Just one small mistake from any one of those drivers It can cost them. And you can see Sparks is getting very, very attacky at the moment. But again, due to the Dominic having DRS, he can't get past. Hawk's pitting again as well, and he's decided to call it quits. Unfortunately, he's had enough, and he's retired from the session. Here comes Dominic. Again, Clone close the door through Vale. And into Club then. Clone doing very well to try and see if he can make it onto that podium. So it looks like that everyone's going to be on the medium tyres until the end of the race. No alternate strategies here, unless the people near the bottom of the grid of the standings could go for the softs and go for the fastest laps. And we do have a yellow flag in sector 1, so I wonder who that is for. It may be just a few of the lap potential ones that could get that moving out the way. No, it's not. It's Sam, who's been near the Wellington Straight somewhere. And he's got his car part, so I'm assuming that he's got problems with his wheel or controller as he's going very, very slowly on the left-hand side of the straight into Brooklands. So, yeah, but could be his wheel connecting. He's got to move quickly, otherwise he'll get disqualified. But luckily he does move quickly and he does get a penalty. Let's watch the battle between Lutz and Thibaut then develop. 3 temps now, 2 temps. I think Lutz has the most to gain from this because Thibaut has more penalties than Lutz. Only 3 seconds, bear in mind. But Thibaut is gaining, setting the fastest lap. And I'm actually going to look at the last lap times on the medium stint. No, not assist. I need to look at race director. So, Lutz's last lap time on 1:31.3 on the mediums. And Thibaut was 1:31.1. So, their times at the moment are within 2 temps apart. This could be very spicy, you know. And I know these two from other leagues. They race really well together. So I wonder how that's going to work. Now, Sam has retired, and I'm guessing he's also retired from the pit lane. So again, another driver that's called it quits and said, you know what, I'm not having a good race. It's ended. It'll be interesting to see what's happened from him, what happened to him actually, that caused him to lose a bit of time. The Alpha's not having the best of runs, because I think Lefted is down in 17th. And I think he's ghosted, I'm not entirely sure. So he might be disconnected. But again, I'll have to make sure someone has gone off. That's a Renault. That is, I think, Dave's Rom. No, it's a McLaren. That was Sam. I thought it was a Renault. The thing looks similar. Okay, the thing looks similar. And look at Luck. The way the conditions are improving, he's gained like a few seconds on Thibaut there. That is very, very impressive, and that could help him towards the end of this race. He's not able to dominate this race so far, but sometimes dominating a race could be quite boring. You would sometimes want to battle with your nearest rivals. And that's what Lutt is doing in the number 84. It looks like he's holding his own at the moment in the Mercedes. We could see another week where Mercedes have the top step of the podium. His teammate though, Brown, only in 9th, but Brown is at the moment where he stands could still get some really good points here tonight. Felipe having a good race as well. Sparks as well in 6th, having a good battle earlier on as Blackie has binned it. Where was that? That was just past Luffield, actually. And that was almost a shunt between him and Lefty, but luckily Lefty is ghosted. I'm so glad the lobby is ghosting on, because otherwise it would have caused so many other problems. Now, I'm not sure, Lefty, if I have you on Xbox, so if I would have had to invite you, I have to switch screens a minute, but hopefully someone else could invite you maybe, potentially as well. I think I have you. I'm not entirely sure, but hopefully, Lefted, you can confirm if you have me or not. If I have you, I can invite you. Simple as. But anyway, that's what I need to do, actually. Add all these Xbox drivers. So then, if they do have a disconnect from the lobby, then I can add them in. There used to be a time where, in PSGL, if you do get disconnected, then that's it. You're not allowed to take part. But since they fixed the corner cutting glitch, you are allowed to rejoin back from the session, which in a way is good news, which means your race is far from over. And I think Dominic is still catching Clone and Spark. So we're still having a three-way battle for P4. Let's see who's managing their ERS well. Spark's on 30. Dominic's on 29. And Clone's on 24. So I think out of the drivers, they're all pretty much on even playing field, these three. But I think Sparks could be the one that's going to be more hungry more than anything to go for this move. So let's see. Sparks then gained a bit of time on the Stowe. On the hanger straight, sorry. But not into Stowe due to the fact that they're stuck within this DRS train. CRG Lut again finding some more time in him. I don't know how he does it, you know. He's doing crazy. I think T-Bone must have found the same time, because otherwise they wouldn't have been, I think, the same gap between each other. It's nice that they're keeping a stable gap at the moment. Now this could be Spark's chance. And because of them three getting held up in the battle, it's allowing the likes of Felipe, an early championship favourite, as predicted by the PSGL Twitter, which you can follow by going on to twitter.com/PlayStation_GL. So yeah, definitely Silverstone. If you get involved in a battle for too long, the guys behind you could sense a chance for them to get involved in the battle too. Brown is on the back of Peroni as well. So they could be joining this battle. Smasher 2 as well. Cesala, 3.6 seconds, but he's got a penalty. Don't forget the top 10 do score points here in this league, just like PSGL. And anyone who gets first, second, third in the standings. I was going to go through those, but Brown just made a really good move on Peroni. Could this be his chance again within 2 seconds of Felipe now and join this battle? Then this could be a comeback drive for LVA Brown. Brown setting fastest lap, so Brown is going even quicker. He's doing exactly the same thing as what Luck did last week, trying to get on the podium, but this time every single driver is on the same strategy, so there's no room to hide. He's going to make it even harder for Brown to make his way up the field, but it's not impossible. You can't see the cars in front of him, and he could be like, hang on, I could potentially be on for P5 here. Here comes Smash on Peroni with a really good move on Peroni for P9, and he's looking good to potentially get P8 as well. Smash it, another drive on the comeback drive. And it could have been, I think, top 3 for qualifying if he didn't bin it in qualifying. But he's got to make do with where he is situated at the moment. But he's doing well to come back from this. He had a spin in lap 1 as well. But it shows never give up. Never give up. We've seen in TRS F1. If you first don't succeed, never give up. And that person went on to win. So here comes Smasher then. He didn't go for the move towards the right of Stowe. I think Brown just closed the door there. We got a yellow flag. And that is a Haas car. I've got to go fast. No, the Racing Point, sorry. It's hard to distinguish between the Haas and the Racing Point because they're two similar colours on the map that you're definitely seeing at the moment. So already we're heading towards the end of this Grand Prix. The time does fly by fast when you're having a lot of fun in this league, I've got to say. We're in around about 9 laps to go. Let's see if Smash can get the switch back. Well, he doesn't get the switch back, but he gets the move anyway. Comfortably past Brown. Smasher, I think, is doing well, managing his tyres, and he had more as well. So that means he could use it quite a lot for defending, but that's probably what Brown will be pushing Smasher to do, is to use more of his ERS. And the track is getting hotter, the track temperatures and the air temperatures as well. So it's going to be even harder for the drivers on those moves to manage this as well. Let's watch the battle for the lead. 4 tenths. I don't think Tebow is finding the space and the pace at the moment just to get past Lutz. So unless Lutz has a nightmare, Lutz could be on to winning this race. And it's getting very clear at the moment, similar to the conditions that you did see in qualifying. And what I'm going to do actually is I am going to send Lefted an invite. So if you just give me a second. I'm trying to figure out how you send out invites. There we go. So I've forgotten what his gamer tag is. I don't think I have you. I don't think I have you, Lefted. I'm not entirely sure. I might have gone past you. I'm not entirely sure. And my Xbox has decided to switch off. Okay. So I will need a spare invite as well. So just give me a second as I switch over things. I don't know what has happened to my Xbox. So I'm going to switch it back on. If someone in the lobby could send me a spare invite, that would be lovely. As well. That would be great. Hopefully someone who's got quite a comfortable pace can actually send me one. That would be amazing. And I think the battle is going to rage on, I think, between Lut and Tebow. Do I have a spare invite? No, I don't. No, I don't. Okay, that is worrying. That is worrying. Hopefully I can join off as a friend, maybe. Just give me a second, guys. Sorry about this. So, join. No, it won't let me join game. So, if someone could actually spread the word, please, that I need an invite. That would be great. Yeah, Lefted, it's your fault for me trying to invite you and then me not getting in the game. And there's probably a lot of things going on as well. So we do apologise about this. Come on, guys, invite, please. I should have asked for a backup invite, but I completely forgot. So just give me a moment. So I'm not seeing. Because I can't. Cause it's not a friend only lobby, so I can't join off them. For some reason, my Xbox just didn't like me. Let me try again. Actually, can I? Is anyone still in that can invite me, please? Oh, I've got an invite. Thank you, Sparks. Thank you. Thank you. I am in now, so I should be in soon, but I do apologise. Blame Lefted for this, that I couldn't get back in the lobby. Sorry about the technical issues, but at least the stream is still going. Because if it was streamed directly through Xbox, the stream would have died. So, right. Luckily, I didn't press ready up. I pressed spectate. So, as soon as I get back in the lobby. So, let's watch the battle emerge here. And I think I'm sorry about this. I think we missed a battle for the lead. So, we only missed a few laps. So, better than nothing, eh? So, we had 4 retirements at the moment. And Tebow is now your race leader. So we've got a change of race leaders. But at the moment, where he is going to go on to win this race. And Lefty, I don't think I have you on Xbox. So I will add you at the end. So do not worry. Do not worry. I think I should have stayed as it is, really, to be honest. But lessons learned for next week. So, lap 22 and 26. We still got a huge battle. I think 4 or 5 cars are caught up now. So, we've got Otis, Dominic, Felipe, Sparks. And maybe Smasher can catch up in a few laps as well towards the end. If these guys keep battling in their drives. But here comes Dominic going side by side with his fierce compatriot of Otis. They almost touched, but they're keeping it together. Otis holds on, but a very good battle between both of them. Felipe could come back in this as well. I'm glad that I got my Xbox back in time for this. Clone having a very good race in third. But for how much longer? Otis needs to gain 5 tenths on him in order to do this. As well. But we're going to see then. Felipe he also had a look on Dominic. Yes, he did have a look on Dominic. Felipe with a fantastic send there. It's up into P5. So, a bit of a lock up there though. But Dominic still had the chance to fight it back. So does Sparks as well. I think Spark has had the most to capitalise on this situation. So we'll have to find out as we head towards the final few laps of this race. And this could be... Sparks goes for a late send on Dominic. That was again very, very close. I wonder who's the closest now. We've got Lut and Tebow potentially could be on a battle here as well. So let's watch them heading just past Cops. Well, going into Cops now actually. And my oh my, we're going to be in for a very good end to this race. As well, and as Left is hoping for his AI to do well. But your AI is doing well. He's in 14th position at the moment. So that's 4 attempts. He's gaining a good run towards Hanger Straight now into Stowe. But unfortunately just doesn't do quite enough. But Lut is on 65%. Maybe he's just saving all of his energy until the end of the race. Near the end of the race. But it may be too little too late. We don't know. Or maybe because of the penalty, he's probably holding back a bit. Casito has had damage in just at the start of the Hanger Straight, which, again, that was, I think, the same place where Hawk spun as well. So, Casito now... It's going to be on a comeback charge now, but you've got to hope that his teammate does well. Look at this, though. Battle for the lead. Lut gets the lunge that he desperately needed. He didn't need to do it, but he did. He wanted to move on track at least, but heading into the Wellington straight into Brooklands, he takes the lead of the race. Tebow, though, he has got to get rid of that deficit. If he wants to win, he's got to get past Lut and get fine within 3 seconds into 2 or 3 laps, which I think it's going to be impossible. So I think we all know who's going to win this race unless a diabolical thing happens to Lut, which I doubt that's going to happen, as Lut has been driving fantastically now. Since Lut has got past Tebow, he's got fined about a few attempts in that sector. So well done to him so far. But Otis, Felipe, Clone, Sparks and Dominic are still fighting. Look at this, Felipe on Otis. Could this be his breakthrough? Almost. Again, I think he's just waiting, but I think it was closer than he was ever been on these last few laps. But I think due to the fact that they were battling going on earlier on, that was allowing Felipe to catch up, I've got to say. But for some of these drivers, the tyres are struggling. It's heading almost to the end of their life. Because when they pitted earlier on, it's when they would have pitted for the mediums anyway. And Felipe! Oh, God. That might have been a bit of a lag spike, but that gave me a heart attack. For those of you that were watching TRS F1 yesterday, I had a similar heart attack with Pablo Jogler. So, for Felipe, I thought his race would have ended there, but unfortunately it could have been worse, unfortunately. So Felipe, thank goodness he's still in this race. But anyway, penultimate lap then. This is make or break time for the guys that want to gain positions. Otis versus Clone versus Felipe. Sparks versus Dominic. Who will reign victorious? And don't forget Brownland Smashers in it as well. I think a lot of people are going to take a few more risks. And I did say I was predicting safety cars today. We have had no safety cars, no VSCs. So fair play. So they learnt their lessons from last week, I've got to say. So on the final lap now, the home stretch. And here comes Felipe on Otis. I think his next best chance would potentially be turn 4. Getting a better run, I think, than Otis did. Otis less DRS. Felipe's got more. Sparks not getting the advantage that he needs to get close enough to this train. But he's going to have a battle with Dominic at least. Here comes Dominic. Dominic to the right then. Spark closes to the left. Brilliant stuff. Sparks is definitely having a better race than last week as well. Most of these guys keeping it penalty free. But Dominic getting a run on Cops. He's not going to try for a move around Cops, surely. He's going to try at least, but he backs out of it. He doesn't want to get her on. Oh my God, he's going to probably go into maggots. You can't go side by side there and keep it clean, almost certainly. But Dominic drops off a little bit. That's allowing Brown and Smasher to come into this as well. Here comes Otis. There's so much battling happening in the space of one lap. It's going side by side. Can Otis get P3? Lutz crosses the line and takes the win. Tebow in second, but how about third place? Oh, this could be a photo finish between the both of them. Felipe's coming in this as well. Otis could lose 2 positions. So Clone gets 3rd, Felipe 4th, Otis 5th, Sparks 6th. What happened to Dominic there? Because he's dropped down to 10th. Smasher 7th, Peroni I think came out of nowhere as well. Brown in 9th and Dominic in 10th. That was crazy last couple of laps, but Felipe getting past Otis and Clone holding on there. Clone, nice comeback from last week. Clone retired last week. I did say that he needed a good redemption race this week, and he did. Done everyone proud. Has done me proud as well. So we got 3 different teams in the top 3 and 6 different teams in the top 6. That is crazy. But the star of the show tonight has got to be CRG Lutz. Dominant performance, no penalties. He stayed true with Tebow the whole race. And that helped him tonight. So Mercedes remain on top once again for the second week in a row. It's not Brown this time, it is Lutz. And I wonder if we're going to get similar battles in the other tiers this week. I really do hope we do. And we've got the podium celebrations as well. And let's get your results in. So we're back to rain again. But anyway, CRG Lutz wins from Tebow in second. 8 seconds worth of penalties. Whoa, very spicy. Clone in third. Felipe 4th. Otis in 5th, keeping his top 5 consistent run. So that might help him in the championship as well. Sparks in 6th. Smasher in 7th. Peroni, also another redemption race for him in 8th. Brown in 9th. And Dominic gets his first point in 10th. Joker, unfortunately, didn't have the best result, but he stays 11th. He remains 11th last week. So 2 11ths in a row. Cesaro in 12th. Dade Rombus in 13th with Lefty disconnected. Nico, I think, disconnected as well. And your retirements are Crescito, Got to Go Fast, Placky, Sam, and Hawk. So well done for these guys for having no safety cars. So I'm going to get Discord open. And the main reason I'm going to get Discord open is I'm going to try and get these drivers in for a driver interview. Thank goodness I did not miss that battle, because that would have been hell if I missed that battle. So let me head on to Discord now. And let me find the right room. Let me find it. I can't find the commentary box. There we go. I found it eventually. So I'm also going to tell the drivers as well if they want to be interviewed and if they're in the top 3 to join the rating room. So that is Lut, Tebow, and Clone. So I need to find the right chat for this as well. So just give me a moment, because we did interviews in XBGL and PSGL F2 and it worked well. So Cologne, Tebow, and Lot. If you want an interview, go in rating room and I will drag you in. And you could probably hear my frantic typing on in the background, so I do apologise. So let's see if we can get these podium drivers in right now. So we've got 3rd place in there. So let's see if we can get Lut and Tebow in. It doesn't matter. It's not mandatory, of course. That's why I said if you want to. They don't have to, of course. So I'm going to get Clone in. I think I'm going to do it from reverse order, so it gives chance for Tebow and Clone to sort out their mics if they wanted to. So let's drag in Clone into the commentary box. So hopefully this will work out well this time, and hopefully I won't have to hear muted Discord all the time. So let's drag him in. So Clone, after last week you had a retirement, but this week you managed to finish and get points, and better enough, you managed to get a podium. So tell us, how does it feel to redeem yourself from last week?
Feels great from last week, which I think I deserved the podium. Didn't go my way, but coming here, I was expecting at least a top 4. But yeah, it feels finally good to be on a podium again.
Talk us through that battle heading towards the end of the race, because it must have got very interesting between yourself, Otis, Dominic, Sparks as well. I mean, especially towards that final lap, what was going through your head right there? And also Felipe was in that battle too. So that was like 5 cars. So how did you keep your cool at that point?
I didn't keep my cool. I defended. It was a bit harsh in the last corner, I'll be honest, to Zach or Oxes. But you got to do what you got to do. You know, I think it was hard racing, but it's just how it is. Last corner, last lap. So, yeah.
And you managed to get through there as well. It'll be nice to hear from, I think, the other people in the battle, Felipe and Otis as well in the final lap. That will be interesting as well if we don't get our other top 2 in. But, you know, after getting a better result this week, that'll push you further up in the championship. What did you think when the wet to dry stint came? Did you expect the rain to dry up as early as it did?
Yeah, but I didn't think the inters would last that long in terms of like the transition. But yeah, it was pretty fun actually. Spiced up the race a bit of mixed conditions and all. Yeah, it was enjoyable.
And no one was using the softs at all, so you're probably a bit relieved about that. But heading into next week, of course, I actually need to check what the race next week is. Oh, Belgium, there we go. Next week we head to Belgium. What are your thoughts on that track? You any good at it?
Yeah, I'm decent. More race pace, I think, but it'll be interesting. I think it'll be similar to here, DRS trains and all. So qualifying will be important, like it was here.
And since obviously we didn't get an interview from him last week, who would you say would be your biggest rival in terms of beating you in the championship?
Ooh, I'm just aiming for like a top 5 maybe for the championship. Maybe like Smasher, maybe Brown. I don't know. I'll have to give it a few more races and then I've got a better idea. But yeah, so some guys at the top anyway.
And
Hopefully.
any tracks that you are you're looking forward to? Any tracks you're dreading maybe as well?
Looking forward to most of them apart from I think it's Monaco and Russia, which I despise. I hate. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I think the second half of the calendar, most of the drivers don't like. I would have disliked it if I was racing. So, but thank goodness I'm not racing. I'm just commentating. But anyway, I think we'll leave you to it. Great job today, Clone. Hopefully we can keep up the result next week. And we'll get our next person into the booth who was also involved in the battle as well. Otis, hopefully you can hear me okay. Tell us how that battle was going on for the last third of the race, because that must have been very, very intense for you there.
Yeah, it was rather intense. Obviously, I was driving like a moron on the in the dry conditions, so I was just slow. And then when Clone called me, I was trying to save a bit of ERS, but obviously I had Felipe pressuring me from behind, so it was very hard to save the ERS and the fuel because I was very low on both. But then going into the last lap down the back straight, going into I think Stowe. I was ahead, got a little bit pushed wide, but obviously we were still side by side into the last corner. And going into the last corner, I went in a little bit deeper because I had the line, and I felt he went a bit off track and came back on, just, but it happens. And top 5, I guess we'll take.
Considering you got P4 last week, it keeps your top 5 consistently alive, so it's not going to be too bad, at least in terms of your fights for the championship as well. And when you saw that it was going to rain at the start of the race, what were your thoughts on it? Because I know you're not a big fan of the wets, or are you a big fan of the wets?
I knew I was only a fan of the start. Like the start, I know in the dry I get good starts anyway. No particular reason for that, just skill. And and in the wet, it was just double fights and went from like I think 11th to 5th at turn 1, and then 4th at Luffield. So 11th to 4th in the wet start. It was a great start. Yeah, I was happy with it.
Yeah, and did you think that it was going to dry out quicker, so you had to go on the hards? And were you relieved that maybe the mediums would be the best option?
Well, obviously, yeah, I did plan to go on the hards initially, but obviously the rain surprised me a bit. So I guess you can say I was a bit relieved, obviously, to be on the medium instead of the hards. But yeah, I did plan initially to go on the hards.
Yes, and going into the next track, which is Belgium, I would ask you more questions, but otherwise we'll be here all night. So, but anyway, Belgium, are you a big fan of this track? Do you think you have to do a lot more practice than the other tracks on the calendar, or do you like it?
Well, initially going into this game, obviously I didn't really like the track, but WOR I did a bit of practice for it, and as you did WOR, and I just got the top 4 there. So yeah, I feel it's definitely gonna be a strong track for me. Definitely a top 5 again if I can keep my head straight.
Yeah, brilliant. And who would you say? Do you think you could possibly challenge your teammate, maybe potentially, and also your other big rivals as well? Because I think it seems to me that you and Smasher work really well together as a team and scoring some good points as well. Which do you think you can challenge Mercedes in the constructors?
Obviously, yeah, me and Smasher he's definitely the best option as a teammate for me. We do work very well together. So obviously, just on raw pace, I don't think we have it to the Mercedes, but just over consistency and just teamwork, I reckon, we could definitely put up a good fight.
Brilliant, fantastic. And I think that is all we have time for the interviews. I would have wanted to get Lutin and our second place man, Thibaut, but it looks like that they're not here at the moment. And I think Felipe's not here either, and I kind of wanted to get his viewpoint of the battle that they had with Otis as well. So, but unfortunately, it wasn't meant to be. But again, it's not mandatory. So, but at least we got 2 people in from that battle, so that was great to see. So I think that is it then for XBGL. So thank you so much for watching the stream. We hope you had fun. Sorry about me leaving the lobby just for a little bit. And thanks to Sparts for getting a quick invite back to the lobby. And I think, and sorry for him losing a bit of time because of that in the battle. But he still got involved in it, which was great to see. So make sure you join us next week for the Belgian Grand Prix. But there's still more action to go on the PSGL channel, or PSGL/XBGL channel. There's been the F10 and F11 streams that went on the same time as us. So if you want to check that out, please feel free and give them a watch and see how they cope. Silverstone, and also there was Formula Performance that happened on Tuesday night as well that you can check out. And there's still more races to go in Silverstone if you want to not miss out on the fun. So on Sunday we have F9, F8 and F7 happening between 7 p.m. and 8 p.m. And then on Monday we have our top tiers of PSGL with F2, F3, F4 on at 7 p.m. and F1, F5 and F6 on at 8 p.m. and you would not want to miss those. I can tell you that tonight's race was pretty good, and I know you'll be in for a treat with these races as well. I've been Jess Games 95. We hope you have a good evening, and we will see you next week for the Belgian Grand Prix. Have a good evening, everybody. Bye-bye.